Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the second public hearing on the fiscal year 2026 budget for Upper Darby Township. If you could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'll now ask for a moment of silence for those that are prisoners of war and missing in action. Thank you. Secretary Billups, can I please have a roll call?
Yes. Secretary Billups is here. Vice President Minnick. Councilor Wagner, are you on Zoom? She's excused?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. President Tunis.
Here.
Councilor Banto.
He's on his way.
Okay, he's on his way. All right, thank you. Councilor Andrusko.
Here.
Councilor Wentz.
Here.
Councilor Silva, are you on Zoom? Okay. Okay, Councilor Blackwell.
Present.
Councilor McNeely.
Present.
Thank you. And we have our Honorable Mayor, Ed Brown. We have our Chief Administrative Officer, Crandall Jones. We have Solicitors Clark.
Just quiet.
Just Clark today? Okay. We have our Chief Municipal Clerk, Kate Doggett, and of course, we have our officers back there. And we have some department heads that are here today. And of course, we could not do this without all of you, the residents of Upper Darby. How y'all doing tonight? Good, good. Go Birds.
Thank you, Secretary Billups. Rules of hearing decorum. Upper Darby residents have the opportunity to speak. Residents are prohibited from making threats, using profanity, or acting in a manner that would impede or prevent the conduct of the business of the hearing. Any person who chooses to provide testimony during a hearing and makes remarks, disrupts, or otherwise impedes the orderly conduct of the hearing after receiving a verbal warning may be required to leave the meeting at the discretion of the council president. Can I have a motion to open up the fiscal year 2026 budget public hearing?
I make a motion to open it up.
Second by Blackwell.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, if there's any residents from the public that would now like to provide a comment on the fiscal year 2026 budget, the floor is yours.
Joanne Amavong. I have a number of questions. Most of them are related to each other. There's a line item on a lot of the departments called contracted services, and I just really want to find out what those are. Like, for instance, in the executive department, which is the mayor's department, we had $638. I know it's small, but I'm just curious, like, what sorts of things are contracted that we can't do in-house, like in the executive department? Do you know offhand?
Do you want to have Diane come up? Pardon me, Diane, if you're going to speak, you have to have a microphone, please, so the people at home can hear you as well.
Can you repeat what the line item was? I'm sorry.
It said contracted services under executive department. It was only in 2025. So I don't know if it was something that maybe it was, maybe it's misclassified. I'm just not sure like why there would be like an outside service provider, like in your department. I'm just curious. It's not like, to me, that's not a big deal, but I just was curious as to what it was.
What was the amount again?
But in the other departments that are kind of a lot, and I don't know why we have contracted services or what they represent really is what I want to know, like in human resources, in, man, I can't read. Hold on a second. Human resources, in police, like $315,000 for police, fire, $10,000 for fire, L&I 75,000, trash 110,000, like contracted services. So what do those represent?
I can definitely start off by saying I'm pretty sure, and we'll double check, but I know that
the one in the mayor's office, we do have a special events position who actually coordinates the special events for the township now. So that might be what you see in his office. Pretty much every office in the township at some point has a service that's not provided by internally. And so they generally we would contract that out and put it under there. I think we just have to get the list, and we'd be happy to publish the list of what those contracted services are.
Okay, yeah, I'm just curious as to like, I mean, do you know offhand, just like, do you have like an example of what something would be? Like, I'm trying to think of what those could be, and I just don't know. Because I know, like, if you pay, say, for instance, I know you have a vehicle maintenance department to fix the cars, and you have them, I guess you have mechanics, right? Or do you service, or you contract that all out?
No, we do have mechanics, but there are sometimes, for instance, let's say a fire truck, we can't do that in-house. A big fire truck, we can't do that in-house. So we do have to send that out for work because we don't have the capacity to do that.
Okay. Yeah, I'd be interested if you could just see if you could find out like because there's like a lot of them. There's just in every single department has contracted services.
Yes.
And like some of them are big, like I said, vehicle maintenance is 275. So I did 1,000.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, well, are you paying an outside, like, are you taking your car to Ramsey's, or I don't know, like is somebody doing work, or is it something else? That's all. I'm just curious. And like parking.
There are a lot of things like in the vehicle departments. For instance, we have a leasing program to buy new vehicles because that's more cost effective for us to do it. So that might be a part of it as well.
Okay. All right. Yeah, it's just like it's almost every department that has that. So I'm just curious as to what they could represent. Okay. Then moving on, like I said, most of these are related. So in the salaries department, it's on page 3 of the general budget. The CAO salaries went from 449,000 to 635,000. So it's almost a 42% increase. So did you hire somebody else in your department?
No, I
Fredo, I can explain that. So we transferred a position that I believe was in administrative services to the CAO area, and I think it's primarily for being a web designer.
Okay.
So that was just reallocation.
Okay, that makes sense, because I did see the administrative services to lose money in full-time salaries. Okay. But the other ones were, let's see. Most of them were normal increases, like police department, 4% increase, but the fire department had a 10% increase in salary. So are we hiring more firefighters? Because that's not a norm, like that wouldn't just be raises for 10%. I don't think.
No, we're not. We didn't propose a 10% increase in firefighter salary.
So
Joanne, are
hiring
you looking
more?
at all
sorry?
salary lines?
I'm talking full-time salary.
Yeah, there shouldn't have been a 10%.
Yeah, so
There's also longevity too that's included in that line. So, they will be receiving I think it's a 3.5%
Right,
increase.
that's what
and
most of them
then-
were.
Or it's proposed because
Okay,
they're
right.
contract negotiations. But then also there's longevity in there that would impact. Like every officer is at a different level in terms of every firefighter is at a different level for longevity.
Okay, it just like that one just looked out of line, because
I'll look at it. I
okay.
can get back to you.
And then, okay, here's the other one. Planning and zoning has a 16% increase in the full-time salaries. So the increase is $27,000. So it can't be another person, because that is not a full-time salary at all.
Right, that was salary adjustments for positions that are currently unfilled. But in order to hire for those positions, we had to meet the market and adjust the salary to try to attract people to, I believe it's 2 positions in planning and zoning.
Okay, it's page 11. So in 2025, then,
The positions existed, but we aren't unable to fill the positions due to the salary level.
oh, okay, I
So
see. Because
market
you only
study.
paid $61,000 to date to October 2nd. So you had some unfilled positions.
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you. Did that. Okay, so the other part of my question is regarding the benefits allocation. I realize you moved them from 2025 to 2026 to spread them into each department. And I noticed that most departments, the benefits allocation is about 55% of the full-time salary. But we'll do the one that's more like parks and maintenance. Hold on. Park maintenance, street cleaning, vehicle maintenance, construction, trash collection, all that kind of stuff. It's more, 62.5%.
Right.
So is there a reason why their benefits allocation are more? Is it something to do with what
Yes.
union they're in, or?
No, it has to do with workers' comp is a very huge expense for the township. It is, we consider it a benefit. Well, it's in that benefit category,
Sure.
and that gets allocated only to the departments that primarily experience workers' comp. So that would be police, fire, and public works. So a decision was made by the administration that those particular departments would just be allocated workers' comp. It's not spread out across all departments.
Okay, and
I mean, we have a whole formula behind how.
well, obviously, but those departments are going to have a higher rate for
Correct.
workers' comp than, say, you would sitting at a desk.
Well, we based it on the experience of the township and who.
Well, right, but you surely have different categories, because I've seen the workers' comp's audits.
Mhm.
You know, I do that for one of my clients.
Mhm.
So I mean, that makes sense that they would be higher because they're more prone to get injured.
Exactly.
Okay, so then my question though, the other question I have though is for police and fire. Theirs are very low, 9% for police, 8% for fire. So why are theirs so low?
Because for many years, or at least as long as I've been here, and I think before then, their health care is directly charged to them. So when we get the health care bill, it's actually allocated to police, fire, and then what we call like municipal, which is everybody else. So if you look in the police and fire lines, you'll see that they have called out benefit lines for current health, retiree health. Their pension is also spiked out.
Okay.
So so that's why their benefit allocation is lower, because they're not, because their health insurance is actually directly charged to them based on how we allocate the bill.
Okay, so if I want to do a comparison, I would need to pick up benefits allocation, and then retiree health insurance, pension, life insurance. So all these items.
Yes.
Okay, I
Yes.
understand. That makes perfect sense also. Okay. Okay, let's see. I think that might be, yes, that's actually the end of my questions. Thank you.
So, Ms. Navalong, just as a summary, the one thing that we owe you is the contracted services. We'll provide details about that, the ones you saw across all the departments. Okay?
Great.
That's
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Good evening,
Good evening.
Lee Hawley, Mayor, Council, Crandall, I may call you Crandall. I'm just here to speak on the budget, and I've had the opportunity to review it, and I cannot tell you how pleased as a resident I am to see the thoroughness. You know, Mayor, you spoke about, allocating money to key areas, and one of them was for modernizing our financial software systems. And if that is a direct result of building that out, I'm not sure if we're there yet, it was worth every penny, because forecasting, I can't remember, and I consider myself an engaged resident, where there has been a budget at that level of detail. Now, not granular where, specific things are whatever, but it's, so I just wanted to thank you for that, and also to say that the goals that you outlined, Mayor, for long-term fiscal health, modernizing the township, most importantly, I believe, as a taxpayer, is securing the fund balance at 20, trying to reach a 20%. a bond rating. I mean, those two things alone, we will never be able to, never. For us to revitalize the township, without those two things, I don't know if it's really going to be, we'll struggle. And we, unfortunately, we lost momentum during COVID. And in the almost 2 years, Mayor, that you've been in this position, I can tell you I appreciate the Recreation Department. I mean, my point is, I'm seeing results in the areas that are important to you. And for Township to support that, I commend you. And hopefully going into 2026, you can continue to collaborate and, really, make these things realized. One question about the budget. Is that my time?
I apologize. There's no time limit. That was someone's phone. Residents, if we could please just put your phone on silence. I apologize.
Thank you. I'm assuming that in the personnel, in the budget line, the CFO that is out for hire, that is factored into that number.
Yes.
Yeah, right, because, it is painful to have, you see certain salaries and you're like, wow, like that seems like a lot of money. But Mayor, you said this on the Comcast News interview. That was a good plug for Upper Darby. We are the size of a city. I don't know why we're not designated as a city, but we have to recruit the best and the brightest, we have to pay for it. And as a taxpayer, I'm behind it 100%. Lastly, this was distributed. It's the 2025, this is actually, it's the 5-year capital plan and the 2025 capital budget. So I don't know if these have been approved, that it's a done deal, but I look at this line item for Observatory Hill Recreation Center at $2 million. Now, granted, there are some, the skate park coalition or whatever, they're working for grants. Is this a done deal? Like, I'm not sure this should be, $2 million is a lot of money.
Well, we actually have a lot of that money already for those projects. The council had previously allocated a significant amount of money for capital projects. And so the capital budget itself, we'll be bringing that next month. And to talk about the detail of what's in the 5-year, what we've accomplished in the last 5 years. So funds for that were allocated. The second part of it is one of the things that we needed to do and why we were so pressed to get the EIT passed is because we're looking for that bond rating. We're looking to get everything in place so that we can actually start effectively borrowing to leverage some of those projects. I'll give you one example. Part of the money that council set aside, let's say, was $1 million for both Observatory and Naylor's Run parks for projects. That $1 million obviously wouldn't have accomplished either of those projects, but it's $1 million. So as we work with our financial advisors to leverage how we get these things accomplished, that $1 million that we already have might be year one, year two payments on the cost of that $2 million or whatever the ultimate price is going to be. So we're looking now, because of that, we have an effective way to actually structure debt and against what resources we have and against what are the priorities of the plan. So it's, and like I said, there's money in hand, particularly for those two projects already. I know with the skate park project, the skate park coalition has some money, and we've been engaged in a lot of conversation with them because the approach that the mayor wanted to take with this, and I certainly agree, is that rather than try to think about that as two different projects, it's really one project, and to consolidate how we do that those projects. So the skate park project was supposed to be a project separate and apart from what was happening in Observatory Park. Well, no, we've all been meeting and working together to say, let's do one project. Let's look at all the revenue that we have on hand for that one project, for that for that park. And let's use, you know, the financial means that we all have collaboratively, and that skate park group is going to do some fundraising as well, so that we can treat it as a single project and move it forward. So I'm really
Project
excited.
as in with Nailers Run also? I mean,
Well,
it's under
Nailers Run,
Park and
yeah,
Rec, right?
Nailers Run is the same way. We're looking at how we do all of those.
It
I
looks
know
a lot better.
the mayor's strategy and his goals were to accomplish those two major parks. We did the equipment for 10 other parks, but these two major parks were supposed to be accomplished rather than piecemeal together. And so those are part of the strategy for what we will initially look at in terms of a borrowing to get those projects done completely, so that folks can start enjoying them.
Yeah, well,
soon
Nailers
as
Run
possible.
looks great.
Yeah.
I mean, the tennis courts and,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
so I appreciate that. And I was just curious. So next month is a discussion of, for the capital
For the
projects.
5-year
where
capital plan.
input and, you know, you have the ability to adjust the budgeting if you decide, you know, maybe the community center isn't a priority at the moment because we've lost ground. I mean, with, you know, filling space and revitalizing, you know, streetscape and stuff like that to draw people into the township. I mean, is that money, can that be reallocated or maybe extended out so we could do more of the cosmetic things?
We're looking at, we'll have those discussions with council. Council will make some decisions. The mayor's going to have his recommendations and he's pretty much outlined them. A lot of the things that are in the capital plan were things that the council had voted on prior to the mayor and I coming on board. And so a lot of those capital items that were there with, you know, equipment purchase and other things.
Previous administration,
Yeah,
right?
we're undertaking it. They were voted on, the money was set aside for that, and we're undertaking those. But the council will have, we'll come with the capital plan. This capital plan, council will have to adopt it, and whatever that deliberation is that comes out of that, you know, we'll go forward with it.
Great. Well, thank you very much for your service and happy Thanksgiving.
I just have one quick question, and I think I heard Ms. Haley say something that I don't see here. I don't think we have a 20% reserve. I think we have a 4% reserve by what's on the budget,
Right. The whole point
which is
I'm
really
sorry.
low.
Yeah, the whole point of establishing a reserve policy, the goal is to get to 20%. Nobody gets there in 1 year unless
Well, if you're getting
you are a
81 million
wealthy
down.
community that already has that money.
Second of all, do you have a copy of the budget? My printer doesn't work, and I feel like you should give me a copy of the budget. I thought it would be out here. So can I get a copy of the budget?
Yeah, can we make sure we get her a copy of the
Can I
budget?
have it now? Seriously, like, it should be out there if we're going to have a budget hearing. How am I supposed to speak about the budget when I don't have a copy of it?
Someone's gonna make sure we get you a copy of the budget, okay?
I'll hold my breath.
Hi, Laura Wenz. Okay, one question as a reaction to Ms. Namavang's questions. Ms. Scudi, you mentioned that workman's comp is only available to police, fire, and public works, or is,
No, that's not what I said. I said that the township chose, or the administration chose to help just to police, fire, and public works because this is the benefit allocation, the cost of it, because that is what we have experienced who primarily takes workers' comp.
so there's no one in any other department that needs,
Anybody can get workers' comp.
okay, okay, it just came,
That's how it's allocated.
okay, it just came across funky, that's why I just wanted clarification. Thank you. Okay, so I was looking over the budget and I was a little concerned when I realized that when we look at the spreadsheet, right? You got the columns for 2024 and 2024 budget and 2025 2024 actual, except for the actual is many millions of dollars more than what was approved. So the expenses of 2024 that was approved by council was 88,780,063. But the actual, in reality, now there's a couple different numbers. There's a number that was on your presentation that had the actual being at $104,360,787. And then there's the number at the end of the budget sheet here that has the number for expenses at 101,000 101 million. Sorry, my numbers were off. All right, so let me get my dyslexia back in place. So 2024 budget originally was $88,780,063. The actual on the budget presentation was $104,360,787. But on the budget that you provided for us, the actual total expenses is listed at 101,033,432, which is over budget by 12,253,389. The 104 that you had on the presentation puts you over the expenses budget for 2024 by 15,580,724. So where did that money come from? I know that ARPA funds were allocated in revenue, but ARPA funds are tucked away, are supposed to be tucked away into reserve and not spent. Some of it's spending, but not, there wasn't 15 million. And if we go by the 12 million number, there's 3 million allocated to the community center that hasn't been spent yet, in theory, right? So I'm just trying to figure out how are we, why in 2024 are we over by at the very least $12 million plus in expenses? And where did the money come from? And how did, I mean, that's huge. The budget says we're not, the Home Rule Charter says that we're not supposed to go over budget, especially not $12 million. That's huge, right? So then we're in 2025, and since we don't have an actual for October yet, at least, did we get the actual?
No.
Okay. So we
Well,
don't,
I can explain the difference if you'd like to. It was on the
Sure.
PowerPoint. So there was actually $14,727,898,000 that was ARPA revenue replacement that was shown in our revenue side. And then there was a transfer on the same side, on the expense side, for 14.7 million that went to capital reserve. And that's a separate fund that is segregated from the general fund. So that's why there's a differential. And that was all approved through ordinances and resolutions, all by a council.
okay. Okay. All right. Well, it's very confusing. All right, okay, great. Thank you. All right, then. So in the salary realm, the non-bargaining department heads and so forth got a 3.75% raise. Now, I think it's because OPIU also got a 3.75 raise. But OPIU was here during COVID. And during COVID, they didn't get a raise. And they had a very minimal raise. And the 3.5%, I believe at this point in time, is still part of that catch up from what they lost during COVID. So normal raises for department heads and the non-collective bargaining units are normally more around the 2 to 3%, depending on the needs of the township and the financial, level of the township. The reason why I bring this up is because I'm concerned that we can't, that the taxpayers of Upper Darby can't afford the constant increase in this budget. I mean, we have the 2025 budget that was a $15 million increase from the previous year, or almost 15 million from 2024. And then 2026 is another, I think, 6 to 7 million increase from 2025. So, and then on top of that, we have the tax levy ordinance that's in motion long before the assessed numbers are coming through from the county. So if the assessment of the properties in the township ends up being lower than what is expected, then what the real estate tax will bring in is less than what is expected, which will put more of a burden, which is going to put the budget completely out of whack. Or the assessed value is higher than what is expected. And then in theory, you would bring in way more money than you had budgeted in the budget. And then therefore, you could have lowered it, the millage. But because the majority of council wanted to move the tax levy before the assessed value numbers from the county came in, we're kind of in a weird conundrum, because without that knowledge, without those specific information, you don't really know what you're going to bring in through real estate tax. So that's a concern. And then I had a concern, fee schedule. It's been referenced in reference to the budget. Is the fee schedule, is what you listed on the fee schedule included in this budget?
We're not bringing the fee schedule forward. We're going to bring the fee schedule forward later, but we did compensate for the numbers that we're proposing in the fee schedule.
So this budget includes that fee schedule, even though the fee
numbers,
schedule
right.
has not been approved?
Right.
Okay. Okay, there used to be a shade tree commission line in parks and stuff. And I could not find
I'm
it.
sorry, I don't want to lose track of all the questions you asked.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think
So-
in some ways it was
Yeah.
more of me just talking about what I found.
Yeah,
So,
so I can wait to
no, go ahead.
answer the
Sorry,
one.
go ahead.
And Diane will take some of them. On the issue of the 3.75, and I responded to a question to the entire council about that. The very fact, and I don't know anything about what happened in terms of COVID and OPIEU in making a decision. We negotiated that 3.75 as a part of the labor negotiation with OPIEU. That's where their 3.75 came from. Now, one of the things that was indicative of for me in that negotiation was what I spoke to in my transmission to council, is that salary compression here in Upper Darby Township for non-union employees treats non-union employees as not as valued as represented employees, and we value both. The whole point is, there's a likelihood that police and fire, we're in negotiations with police right now, in arbitration with police, and in negotiation with fire, which will happen. Yeah, everybody typically gets more in wage increases than the non-union staff, which compresses professional non-union staff's salaries, where you've got a situation now, and I shared it with council, where of the top 30 earners in the township, 26 of them are not management staff. They're police and fire. Now, for the OPIU group, one of the things that I was really sensitive to, and as was the mayor, was the fact that before they became OPIEU, their salaries were being compressed as well as non-represented staff, and they fell further behind. And so in order to actually compensate and retain personnel, you got to pay them market rate for what they do wherever they're doing it, union or non-union,
Right,
and
so
that's what
I'm
we're
sorry
doing.
to interrupt you, but yes, I agree. OPIU is the lowest paid union in our township. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I support their percentage 100%, and I have supported all the union contracts 100%. My concern is at certain points of time, as far as the police and fire that have a higher salary, well, they've also been here a lot longer. And I understand what you're talking about, the department heads, but the problem is we are not a corporation. We are a township. And the township taxes come from the residents. And the residents, many of these residents don't make a fraction of what the department heads or the township employees make. Where the median income of our township is in that range of $60,000 to $70,000 a year. That's a lot, and there's a lot of people who don't even make that, and a lot of people that are living within the poverty line. So, but they're getting taxed the same, right? So the reality is, at some point in time, something's going to have to give, right? You either tax your residents out of their homes, and they either A, become homeless, or they move. Now, other people come in, but at some point in time, they can't come in if their taxes are too high, right? If they can't afford the taxes, then they can't afford to live here, right? So, or you find ways to cut your expenses. And yes, I know that non-union workers are paid less, right? And unfortunately, in many situations, I was non-union for at least 10 years as a stagehand and head electrician in multiple theaters. And it turned out not only was I being paid less, I was being paid less because I was a woman, even though I taught the men next to me and they were getting paid more than I, just because they were men. So yes, I understand that whole breakdown way better than most people realize, okay? My concern is, and I realize that, you know, for yourself, you need that 3.75 to keep your salary above all the others. But the snag,
if I might,
but the snag is, I don't think our residents can afford these salaries.
if I might respond, this one is not about me. The fact of the matter is, if you take the salaries of all, let's take the department heads, every department heads. The salaries of every department head represents about 1.9% of our budget, about 1.9% of our budget. And if you take in total the number of non-union personnel in this organization, it's only 11%. And so the cost driving, the budget is not on the salaries of management or non-union personnel. I mean, the cost, and I'm not saying that the costs for the salaries of the union personnel are problematic. I'm just saying that it's not that 11% of that $1.9 million that is making the difference one way or the other. Because I think it's about, in terms of the proposed raises, it's about $142,000 related to non-union personnel in this budget. So that's not it. The efforts we've been making in terms of the negotiations we've had about post-retirement benefits, et cetera, and there are other costs that are driving the costs in the organization, the healthcare costs that are driving the costs of the organization. Those are really, really big fish that are not the 1.9 million or the 11% of the personnel. But the mayor and I value that 11% as much as we value the 89% in terms of this is what a police officer costs, this is what a firefighter costs. This, if you look at even in our labor in the TWU union, if you look at that, if you say according to your thesis that their salaries are way more than what the average person makes, yeah, that's in all of those departments, not just in the 1.9 and 11%.
Right, and I understand that. And the reason why their salaries are where they are is because of their collective bargaining unit that has been making sure that the workers were compensated over the years. And I'm not mad at them for their salary. I don't have a negative approach to them in any way for their salaries. And I technically don't have a negative approach to anyone. I'm just trying to look at ways to reduce the budget so that we do not tax our residents out of the township.
I agree with you that we shouldn't, and I'm saying that a punitive approach to non-union employees is not the way to do that, because it is the department heads who bear the legal responsibilities, and it's the department heads and non-union staff who are managing and supervising and have their credentials and have their signatures and have their supervisory responsibility for doing it. And what we're paying folks in most instances in the open market, not as a commercial market, as a local government professional, their salaries have been compressed for years because of that approach. That's the point.
Well, I understand that. My concern is at some point in time, I'm concerned that if the standard is a 3% raise, right? Which in this area, so there's the area standard of Delaware County. And for municipal workers, the general area standard in Delaware County has been 2% in most situations. So the fact that Upper Darby is higher, that's something that has been in place for years, right? So I'm just bringing it up as a concern. So going to specific line items, I didn't see a line item for the Shade Tree Commission, that they used to have one. I also, special events program, I'm just wondering why that jumped to 75,000 from 55,000. That's a huge jump. It was under special events, actually. Sorry.
And so again, the cost associated with doing that, I'll give you an example for, we have a professional person who is doing it, but we're also looking to do more events. The mayor is interested in having a winter special event in 2026 as well. So we're proposing funds that would accommodate the events that we do, plus a winter event as well. And if you were at the International Festival, you saw that we took a much bigger approach to that, because part of this is about branding the community as a place that people come to, and so that costs more to do more events and to do it bigger.
Gotcha. Okay. That's all I have for the moment. Thank you.
If you haven't spoken yet and you would like to provide a comment on the budget, just a moment for the public. If not, then we'll go to folks that have spoken before.
Hi, Lee Jordan. I didn't go through detail of the budget, but is there money allocated towards communications? Something that we can do better, like whether it's the website or phone calls or, printed calendars or something similar to that people can have. So is there money allocated? I didn't read through it in such detail that I would know that.
I can say in this year's budget already, we are undertaking a revision of the website now. And it is, we're hoping first quarter, maybe toward the end of second quarter, that the new website will be underway.
Rolled out.
Yes.
Rolled out.
Yes. The other thing that we're doing is in terms of communication. We spent this year working to get Upper Darby TV launched on the cable channel. So I know we will have a channel 5. I can't remember the other numbers that we're having, and we should be bringing information.
So that's 2026?
Yes, that's
Okay.
going to happen.
All right.
That's going to happen in 2026. A big part of the mayor's goals was to increase communication. So those are two of the ways that we're going to do it.
Okay, good. That was my only.
Lee, this just to add to what CAO Jones said, we're reimagining communication, right? He talked about some specific things, but we want to make sure we listen, right, to the feedback and to the suggestions for improved communications to make sure people know about, what's going on, or they can find out what's going on in their township. So we're reimagining it along with our communications director, Rob Ellis, to implement new things and just to increase the level of communication to make sure we over communicate and you know what's going on. So that's an initiative for 2026, and we're paying attention to that.
Yeah, well, that's good. I mean, and, I'm not a big fan of social media either, so I would like it to be something other than that to get the message out, because, it's just goes down some type of rabbit hole that just becomes counterproductive than what you want to get done.
Hi, how you guys all doing?
Good.
My name's Paul. I'm here to asking about something about the recreational department. Okay. I've been doing certain things with them, and every time we propose something, and it's no budget. I always keep saying no budget, can't do it. So I don't know if you guys already know that certain thing we've been doing and we've been working on together. One is the Women's Self-Defense program we've been running since July, I believe, right, with the rec department, and it's been very successful. Since what's going on around here lately about kids getting missing and all those things. So we've been working really hard with that. So I was talking with the rec department. They say they want to continue on. So we already have something put together in December, 2 free seminars, right? And then we have something put together all in January, February, and March. After that, there's no budget for it, right? So they took the money from 25 to go into 26 to deal with it. So that's one thing. And the other thing is that this year I did some summer camp for the kids. And during the beginning of the year, I asked the rec center, do they want to be partner up and help the kids out? And they say no budget, no money, can't do it, right? But we proposed to them and they loved the idea, but I still ran the program. I'm sure some of you probably heard of it, right? The summer program, we did it for basically almost free for the kids. We only could do it for so many. We partnered up with Murphy. They provide all the food. We partnered up with Rotary. They gave some money to buy supply. And East Bank gave some money to buy some supplies. So what I'm asking is, can you guys be able to put a little bit more money towards the recreational department so they could actually do more for the kids, for the community?
Sure.
There's an increase.
Thank you for that question. We did actually put more money in the recreation budget. One of the things we've been working on, and we put forth the council, Mayor put forth the council, they approved it earlier in this year, was a grant application to, I forget which state agency, that actually would work with us and the community to collaborate on how we do recreation and how we take the best advantage of partnerships and all of the people at the table. And it started with I think the baseball folks, but it's going to be involved with everybody. Unfortunately, because of the state government shutdown, we had expected we'd get notification no later than September about our grant application. And because of the shutdown of the government, we haven't heard anything. That's still going to happen. We're still looking to to do that. But in the interim, we put some extra money in the budget to expand programming. And so we'll be happy to have the conversations that we need, and I certainly will be having them with the recreation staff, the mayor will as well, about, what's on the table, but there's more money in the budget, that proposed in the budget.
Right, yeah. So I talked to Gina from State Rep, and she says, if you guys need help with the grant writing and stuff, she definitely would help out to be able to do that also.
So if I can just add, I know about the quality of your programs, right? So I'm very aware of the service you provide for the township. And I want to get specifics on the programs that you propose to our recreation department and the shortfall or what the estimates are. I would love to know the specifics on that, so we can circle back to you and let you know how we're going to make that happen. So I think your programs are paramount and important to what we need to have in Upper Darby. So I want to get specifics on that.
Oh, great. Now, this women's self-defense, I would love to see you guys come by and just watch that, how this is being presented, right? So I'm inviting you guys to be able to come in. It's on December 6th, right? And it should spread the word out. People is already signing up right now.
Mr. Chang?
What time?
Let me see, we have two programs. It's two different age group. One is 16 to 26, that's 12 to 1:30, and then 27 to 54 from 2 to 2:30. Right.
Mr. Chang, if you can give that to our chief municipal clerk, this hearing is just designed for the budget.
Okay.
So you can
Sorry, I asked you that. I
you can just give that to her. If you sign up for public comment, you can go in more depth about it. I didn't want to cut you off. I was just trying to.
That's all I got.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Is there any further members of the public? Seems like those that have spoken before would like to still provide comments. So if you guys would like.
Yeah, Joanne Namavong. I just have a couple follow-up questions, Diane, because from some of the answers you gave me. So on the police and the fire, if I add in all the other benefits that are listed separately, then the police come out to 102% of the full-time salaries, and the fire come out to 82% of the full-time salaries. Now, I see that there's retiree health insurance, which is a fair chunk. So for police, that's 25% of our full-time pay is paid to retiree health insurance. But I guess it's still higher. So, if we take that out, the fire is still 82% and the police are 77%. So I guess it's still way higher than everyone else. So what is why is that different?
Why are the police? Well, one answer would be the workers' comp, right, that we're allocating to them and not across the entire township. So that would be one answer. I think the retiree health care, I think you
Right.
nailed the head on that, as well as the pension, right? So all those, did you include the pension?
Yeah, I included all this
Yeah.
stuff.
So I mean, I think all those factor into why the police
Okay.
and fire are higher percentage-wise than compared to other township departments.
But do the other departments, they don't get pension?
Yes, they get a pension, but you have to think volume. There's 100, how many
Well-
police officers we have, how many retired, police officers, firefighters.
Right, but their wages are, the police wages are 16 million, other departments are, 4 million. So I know everybody makes a different rate, but it just, to me, it seems like it should be more, it should be closer to a percentage. I feel like I do analytics, so it's a valid comparison. And I just can't see why there would be such a huge difference. It just doesn't make
It's
any
the
sense.
volume we have 100, well, currently we have 138 police officers, 65 firefighters. But I think our total employee population is a little over 400. So that's why they're so much higher, because they're more employees in those.
Okay, but are they being underpaid then? Are they getting a lower rate than everyone else? Because
Police and fire?
yes. Because if you say there's, I mean, are you saying that the rate differential for a policeman versus somebody that works in the trash department, that the cops get a lot less than in their paycheck?
No, I'm
Than
not
a-
saying that.
because
I thought we're talking about benefits.
we are,
What you're
but
saying, why is the benefit allocation?
I'm doing benefits related, as a percentage of the full-time salaries. Because if you have 100 cops making whatever, you're going to have a certain amount. Okay?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I think the answer is in with the retiree healthcare, the pension.
Right, but even without that, well, but everybody, I mean, unless everybody has a different pension, I know you have the unions and there are different pensions for different unions, I suppose. I'm
yes.
just curious as to why the big difference. And the other question is, so we spelled out for police and fire these different categories, but they're actually included. Every department though has those, right? So they're included in what you call benefit allocation for every other department.
Right, but since the police, for example, have healthcare directly allocated to them, I don't do it through the benefit allocation as well. Like I only do it to the
Right.
other departments that don't have it directly billed to them,
Okay,
as an example.
okay. But it's included in that benefit allocation amount that I think Laura was asking about, that she was concerned about. But the workers' comp, and everybody has workers' comp coverage and all that, but it's just not specifically, you're not allocating any workers' comp to any department except for those like high rate, high experience people.
Exactly.
Okay. So I guess my question is that I'm concerned about the retiree health insurance. So it's for the police, and I'm all for everything we can pay the police and all we can pay for the fire. But at some point, it's unaffordable. Like we can't sustain, it's like having a defined benefit plan. You can't sustain that. You just can't. So the police, I think it's over $4 million for retired health insurance each year, $4 million. Who does that cover? Does it cover the policemen, their family, their kids under age 26? Like, I guess I'm trying to find out who's covered under that and for how long, like until the day they die. And I don't mean to sound crass, I really don't. But like, you get somebody that lives to be 90 years old, it's going to bankrupt this township if we keep hiring young cops and then they retire when they're 60 and then we're paying health insurance for them for 30 more years and for their family. I mean, are we paying for their family?
In some instances, yes. And part of the difference is these things were negotiated. And really, there's only way to not do it is to negotiate with the various unions to do reductions.
Right, but I think that at some point it's something that has to be looked at for new hires, that you have to start to make changes. Like every person, like my kids, where they work, okay, people that have been there all right, let's, for instance, for me, where my husband works, like he works at Lower Merion School District. And when he started to work, he had certain things that he could have. But people that are hired after him, even though they're in the same union, they don't have the same, like they can't pick the same health insurance that he could pick because he's grandfathered in. At some point, you have to draw a line and say, there's no money for this. New hires, you're either going to take the job, you're going to either accept this contract for new hires that are not going to have, platinum benefits. And I'm not.
Ms. Namavon, your point is well taken. I think that is the basis of the negotiations that we're having because, listen, it's not a slippery slope. It's a double-edged sword because we want to be generous to our police and our fire. They're our heroes, right?
Right, I agree.
But the generosity of some of the plans, as you stated, I'm going to use your words, it's unsustainable.
Right.
So that's where we have to negotiate and say, we want to make sure we take care of you, but at the level that we do it now, it's not sustainable. We can't do it forever. I'll use your words again. You said bankrupt this township. So we're trying to find that sweet spot where we can peacefully coexist and be fair to them and honor what our commitment is in negotiations, but also pay attention to the realities and the finances of the economics. So your point is well taken. And I think, you're basically stating our stance as a township.
So let me just ask one other question though related to that. So what about like department heads? I don't know who's in the union or not. I don't know any of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But like, for instance, Mr. Jones, like, when you retire, are you going to get health insurance until you die from this township? Is that part of your contract?
No.
Okay. So like a typical department head, like like any of them, I don't know who know their names.
No.
Like, do any of them like get that, or is it just the union workers?
It's not all unions. I mean, there's some level of healthcare in all the unions, but it's not a part of non-bargaining.
I mean, I would love to have health insurance after we
Yeah.
retire.
Yeah.
But my husband is
and
not
each-
going to get
Each
that.
plan, you know, there are differences between fire and police and the other unions as well. But the public safety ones are much different from everybody else.
Okay.
And,
All right.
and we've been having healthy conversations about it, but it's something that the township can't make a decision to say this is what it is. I mean, the process is you negotiate with them, and right now we're in arbitration with the police, and that's part of the discussion in terms of OPEB costs, post-retirement benefits, et cetera.
All right. Yeah, I just want everybody to understand, as a lot of people know me, I am 100% for taking care of our fire and police department and actually every employee in this township. But I'm also worried about the sustainability because, just seeing numbers like this, we have to, I'm sorry, young people, but when young people start, you're going to have to learn to, make your own, make your way a different way than was the old school defined benefit. It doesn't work. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any further members of the public that would like to comment at the public hearing? Following the public hearing, we'll go into the meeting.
Stacy Hawley. I just have one question that I forgot to ask because I know that in the budget, it is problematic is the reassessment of property values. And I think it was stated somewhere that, that is something that you're looking as a council and the mayor and CAO, but how do you turn the tide? I mean, how do you address reassessments? I mean, you have that right to reassess, but what would give you as a township an advantage or an upper hand to stop the reassessments? Or can you? I mean,
That's really within the purview of the county, and not,
the county.
Yeah, it's not a local reassessment that happens. That's a countywide reassessment that happens.
Okay.
Right, and even with that, we have to do a budget by a certain time, right? And we have to make certain estimates or like assumptions, I should say, to say, okay, this is the hand that we're dealt. This is what we're dealing with right now. When reassessments happen, then obviously things have to be rethought or adjusted. And we never think about it in terms of the reassessments will come out. Well, we're doing better than what we did before. We always try to plan for a worst case scenario where the reassessments come back and we're going to get less than what are we going to do if we get less or 70% or 80% of what we are expecting? So that's what makes it hard. It's not an exact science, but we never assume we're going to be better off after they do reassessments. We assume we're going to be in a position where we're going to have to make some hard choices and still figure out how to not like fix it on the back of taxpayers, that kind of thing, and still honor all of the services and the things that we need to do.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Are there any further comments on sorry, can I give him an option? He didn't get a chance to speak.
I'm so sorry.
And this is only on the budget.
Yes. I think it's a simple question. I'm not sure if there's an answer to it. Is there any estimation in the budget of any sort of federal aid for infrastructure, including roads, bridges, water systems, anything of that? Is anything built into the budget that assumes anything coming from the federal government?
For those things that we know we already have, yes. We don't estimate based on we hope for the budget, but if there's if there's a grant or opportunities that come forward, we will put those. We'll make that application. We'll come and ask council for approval to apply for them, and if we get them, we'll come for the appropriate amendment to the budget.
But these would be competitive. In other words, say, well, we're going to try to get this, and X number of other cities, towns, and so on are trying to get the same money.
Yes.
So you obviously can't.
Yeah.
No way to project that, but we try to get it.
Right. Oh, we absolutely go after it.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other further comments from members of the public?
Yeah, just real quick. So the budget hearing's been going on since 6 o'clock, and I didn't get a chance to sign in to talk during the public meeting. And you took the sign-in sheet away. So
It was,
we had the public hearing for the budget, so it should be,
so like stated, the sign-up sheet is collected at 6:55. And we can address that in the next meeting. If council would like to open that door, I will ask them. But right now, we're just fielding
I'll
comments.
just talk loud from my seat.
Right now, we're just fielding comments about the budget hearing.
So, okay, I have a comment about the budget hearing. So, someone brought up
About the budget, this is a hearing on the
Budget.
budget, okay?
and the budget hearing. So someone brought up a comment about communications and the recycling and trash calendar. So is there a line item for that? Is that in the budget?
You wouldn't put a line item for recycling and trash calendar.
Wait, you,
But
sorry, I didn't hear
you
that.
wouldn't put a line item in a budget for
Is-
and there's no line item in there for recycling and trash calendar. No,
A printed one.
no.
Okay, so this week there was an incident where trash wasn't picked up because of the holiday. And people don't know when they put their trash out and their recycling out, so it makes a lot of trash. Now, that's great, you want to do a TV channel. I can't afford cable. So I can afford to look at my refrigerator where the calendar's printed. And I think I hear a lot of people, if everyone, you look on the Facebook groups, a lot of people in the Facebook groups really want the printed calendar sent out.
So with that, that's a suggestion. So Ms. Duggan,
That's a suggestion for the budget, to add that to the budget. For the thousands of dollars you're taking from me this year, almost not, I don't make that much, it might be $1,000 for me this year. Maybe we can, and all the money we're taking from the EIT, from everybody, maybe we can squeeze a little bit for a printed calendar. Doesn't have to be fancy. You can even put months, it doesn't have to be 1 month, you have 2 months on a page. I'd like to suggest that, yes. Put that in the budget.
thank you. Are there any further comments from the members of public on the 2026 budget?
I apologize. I forgot this last follow-up question when I was asking about contracted services and in the parking department. And I just, so in 2025 actual for contracted services was 82,322. We budgeted just shy of 52,000. So, and then 2026, we're budgeting 16,000. So was that 82,000, like we went over budget by 58%. Was that due to the passport parking, the fee for early termination of our contract with them? Do you know?
Joanne, are you referring to 25 or 26? Or
2025 actual was 82,000 and then budget was like 52,000.
Right.
It was like 30
So,
grand over.
I think the issue is we went from, what was the name?
The
of it?
passport, I think was the old one. I don't know.
Passport to T2. So, but I don't think the transition happened quite as quickly as we wanted it to in 25. So we were still paying that passport was getting like a commission off of the fees.
Okay, so we were paying some double, but then in 2026.
Not double, we hadn't transitioned yet to the new system, to the new T2 system. That
Well,
was-
we were paying for both at the same time when we weren't using it. I'm not,
No,
it's okay. I mean,
But that's not what we were doing. We were transitioning from one system to another.
Okay,
and
but
we were
so-
still using Passport into 25.
okay, but then, so, I understand the budget is not, it's a forecast. I understand that.
Mhm.
But it's a 58%, like, we knew what the contract was for our parking expenses. So we were way off on that. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's probably what that was, the contract
Yeah, we-
services was
we
for
didn't
passport.
We didn't make the transition as quickly as we thought. So when we budgeted last year, we assumed,
You assumed, okay, I understand.
like all budgets have assumptions, and we assumed that it was going to happen sooner
Okay.
in the fiscal year.
Okay, and
Beginning
then
of the fiscal year.
the other thing I just wanted to ask, and I'm happy that you're keeping parking services and parking services, because I know that we had an ordinance or a resolution or something to move the parking department as part of the police department. So are any of these parking salaries they're not any police officers, right? They're just like the people that are giving the tickets and stuff like that? Or are they, does that include any of the police officers?
No, the parking department is just the parking employees.
Just the people that are in charge of, okay. So, okay, that's fine. And I even though you did move it to police, I think it's very important to keep it, I like that you have it separate so we can track it.
Right, the lieutenant is still in the police department.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. That
Thank
was
you.
my last question, sorry.
Thank you. Are there any further comments of members of the public regarding the 2026 budget? Are there any further comments of members of the public regarding the 2026 budget? Are there any further comments from members of the public regarding the 2026 budget? Seeing none, I will now ask for a motion to close the meeting.
Motion to close the meeting.
All in favor? Okay. Thank you all. We will reconvene at 7:15 for the full council meeting. We just have to switch streams, okay? Thank you.